Welcome back to Captain Help, where we tackle the problems that shape our lives one episode at a time. Today's topic, polarization. Why politics feels like a battlefield, why we're secretly addicted to it, how certain actors profit from it, and most importantly, how you can fight back with depolarization. So, stick with me. We have a lot to uncover. By the end, you'll have real tools you can use in your daily life. Let's go. Polarization isn't just disagreement. It's when disagreement turns into distrust, hostility, even hate. It's when we stop arguing about policies and start seeing the other side as immoral, dangerous, even uncivilized. There are a few key forms. Ideological polarization. People's policy views move further apart. For example, one group strongly supports bigger government and social programs, while the other strongly opposes them. Affective polarization. People don't just disagree on issues, they start disliking and even distrusting members of the other side as people. For example, seeing members of the opposite political party as immoral, unintelligent, or dangerous. Social polarization. Communities, neighborhoods, or media bubbles become more the same, with less interaction between groups. For example, living, working, and socializing mostly with people who think like you, which deepens the us versus them mindset. So disagreement is healthy, polarization is toxic. And here's the twist. It's not only pushed on us by politics and media. Our own brains are part of the problem. Polarization feels good because it feeds our psychology. Certainty, clear answers. We're right, they're wrong. The brain loves black and white. Nuance, that's mental heavy lifting. Tribal wiring, humans crave group loyalty. Polarization gives you a tribe and an enemy. Nuance makes the borders fuzzy. Emotional payoff. Outrage delivers adrenaline and dopamine, a kind of righteous high. Simple stories. Heroes and villains, winners and losers. Our brains love that drama. Belonging. Taking a side signals loyalty. Nuance risks looking weak or disloyal. So, polarization is like junk food. It tastes amazing, it's addictive, but it's not nourishing. And here's where it gets dangerous. Because the very things our brains crave, politicians, media outlets, and influencers have learned to turn them into a business model. Politicians win more votes by framing the other side as an enemy, not opponents, enemies. They hook into our tribal wiring and keep us loyal. Media and influencers thrive on outrage. Anger spreads faster than facts. Conflict keeps you scrolling, sharing, and glued to the screen. Fundraisers and advocacy groups know fear opens wallets. If they convince you the other side will destroy everything, donations pour in. So polarization works because it's custom-built for our psychology. They sell it, and we buy it. But while polarization makes money and wins elections, it poisons democracy. It creates gridlock in government. Politicians won't compromise. Even ideas with wide support get stuck because helping the other side is seen as betrayal. Policy whiplash. Every election swings policy from one extreme to the other. Climate, healthcare, education, nothing sticks. Long-term solutions die. Loss of trust. People stop trusting elections, courts, media, even democracy itself. Each side believes the system is rigged. Rise of extremism. When opponents become enemies, extremists feel justified in using threats or even violence. Everyday social fracture. Families split, friendships end. Communities self-sort into bubbles where everyone thinks the same. Information breakdown. Each side has its own facts, its own experts, its own media. Shared reality disappears. So polarization doesn't just divide politics. It divides families, communities, and reality itself. And there's something else fueling today's polarization. Something raw. It's not just ideas, it's frustration. Politics has become, for many, a way to settle scores. If you felt ignored, now you want to be heard. Loudly. If you felt disrespected, now you want the other side to feel it. If you felt pushed out, now you want to push back. That's why slogans like "Take our country back" hit so hard. It's about reclaiming dignity. But here's the danger. Once politics becomes about payback, compromise dies. It's no longer, what's the best solution? It's, How do we make them hurt the way we hurt? And when both sides think that way, you get an endless revenge cycle. Each escalation feels justified because they started it. So, polarization doesn't just divide us. It teaches us to fight not for progress, but for revenge. So how do we break that cycle? By recognizing the frustration, by giving people dignity, not just debate, by shifting the frame from settling scores to building something together. Because here's the truth. Anger might win an election, but it can't build a future. For that, we need depolarization, not erase disagreement. That's impossible. But lower the temperature so we can solve problems and still see each other as human beings. So, depolarization is disagreeing without dehumanizing. So what can you do at your level right now? 5 practical moves. Listen first, ask questions. What experiences led you to that view? Respect without surrendering. I don't agree, but I see why that matters to you. Diffuse tension. Let's not turn this into a fight. I'd rather understand. Set boundaries. I want a respectful exchange. If not, let's pause. Highlight shared values. We both care about fairness and safety. We just see different paths. So you don't need to change minds, just make the conversation less hostile. Yes, it takes 2 to tango. If the other side refuses, you can't force it, but your effort still matters. You set the tone. You model calm strength. You shrink the circle of hostility in your world. And sometimes one person starting the dance is enough to change the music. So someone has to lead, and it can be you. Now here's the real trick. How do we make nuance exciting? Because polarization is thrilling. It's a fight. Nuance feels like homework. Here's how to flip it. Tell stories, not just stats. Highlight surprises, like when opposites agree for different reasons. Use humor, lighten the load. Frame it as a puzzle. Both sides are partly right. How would you balance it? Make it personal. Tie policy back to dignity, safety, and fairness. So, nuance becomes exciting when it feels human, surprising, and hopeful. And here's something important. Depolarization isn't just for politics at the highest level. It's a life skill, one you can use at home, at work, or at school. Because polarization doesn't just happen in politics. It happens at the dinner table, in team meetings, in classrooms, even in group chats. At home, think about family dinners. One relative says something political, and suddenly the turkey is cold. Depolarization here means asking, what experience shaped how you see it? Instead of, how can you believe that nonsense? Or with teenagers, parents want safety, teens want freedom. Instead of locking into my way or the highway, depolarization reframes, we both want you to grow, we just see the balance differently. At work, workplaces polarize too. Sales versus operations, finance versus creative. Instead of rival tribes, depolarization says, we all want the project to succeed. How do these perspectives help us get there? And when coworkers clash, a small shift from you're impossible to how do we handle this deadline together can cool the fire. At school classrooms and friend groups polarize fast. Students split into camps, cliques form, gossip becomes war. Teachers can depolarize by asking, can someone summarize the strongest point from the other side? It's not about winning the argument, it's about practicing empathy. And that's a muscle you carry into adulthood. And online, depolarization means not feeding the outrage machine. Pause before sharing. Ask, is this bringing light or just heat? So, if you can depolarize at the dinner table, in the office, or in the classroom, you're training for the bigger mission of depolarizing society. So let's recap this mission. Polarization feels good because our brains love it. Politicians, media, and influencers profit from selling it back to us. The cost? Gridlock, mistrust, extremism, broken families, lost trust in truth itself. The antidote? Depolarization at the micro level. Listening, respect, boundaries, and shared values. Yes, it takes 2 to tango, but one person can start. And nuance, it doesn't have to be boring. It can be powerful if we tell the story right. So, depolarization gives us back the space to argue, to solve problems, and to stay human. We will be united again. This was Captain Help. Small steps, big changes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, you don't need to wear a cape to be a hero. Thank you for watching.